You think the end of the world is impossible. In vain. There have already been disasters in the history of the planet that almost destroyed all life, and they can happen again. A supervolcano eruption, a deadly virus for which there is no vaccine, a new ice age, an asteroid impact, or a big squeeze. Which end of humanity is most realistic? Life on Earth went through large-scale extinctions over and over again. Without oxygen, life forms were replaced by anaerobes, and even only skeletal remains remained of the mighty dinosaurs. Why has humanity itself been on the brink of death more than once? 70,000 years ago, after the eruption of the Toba supervolcano, ash that fell into the atmosphere blocked the sun's rays for 6 whole years. All this time, acid precipitation fell on the earth, but only a few thousand of our ancestors survived. Basically, the African population, which was not so affected by the cold, managed to escape. Little Ice Age. The cold almost caused another extinction, already in the late Middle Ages and in modern times. This was the coldest period in the last 2,000 years. European medieval chronicles mention a series of unusually cold autumns and winters that destroyed crops and brought with them the Great Famine of 1315 to 1317. It snowed in Italy, and rivers began to freeze in Scotland and England. In the 15th century, glaciers began to advance on Greenland, and then permafrost became established. By the 16th century, even the southern seas began to freeze. 3 horses rode calmly along the Moscow River in the winter month. Mass fairs were even held on the ice. And in the fierce winter of 1664 to 1665 in Europe, birds froze right in the air. As a result of such frosts, millions of people around the world died. It is believed that the causes of the Little Ice Age could have been volcanic eruptions in the tropical part of the globe. The decline in solar activity in the mid-15th century intensified this effect and extended its effects well into the next 4 centuries. Epidemics. Another threat to humanity: epidemics will wipe out entire cities. For example, in 737, a third of Japan died out from smallpox. And already in the 20th century, this virus claimed the lives of up to 500 million people. This is more than the population of all of South America. The Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 to 1919 killed up to 100 million people. People died in a matter of days, sometimes even hours. The pandemic miraculously disappeared after wiping out 5% of the world's population. Cholera has long been a local disease, but in the 19th century it became one of the most common and deadly diseases, claiming 60 million lives. Acute intestinal infections still cause focal epidemics in many regions of the world. The situation is approximately the same with tuberculosis, which killed 100 million people in the 20th century and continues to kill 2 million people every year. Cox bacillus has infected a third of the world's population. Between 1981 and 2006 alone, 25 million people died from diseases related to HIV and AIDS, which is equal to the population of Australia. According to WHO, the COVID-19 pandemic has killed about 7 million people. Who knows what terrible infection might start spreading around the world next time? In addition to the epidemic, futurologists see a lot of other options for the destruction of humanity in the future. Here are just a few of them. Nuclear war. In the 20th century alone, 2 world wars claimed tens of millions of lives. But the invention of nuclear weapons made the prospect of the destruction of all humanity more than real. In the event of a full-scale war between nuclear powers, the explosions of hundreds of warheads could lead to a 10-year nuclear winter. Snow will fall across most of the planet and temperatures will drop by 20 degrees. People will die of hunger and cold. The death of most of the world's population is likely. According to other estimates, from 10 to 50% of people will be able to survive and maintain the technological level. There is a possibility that the supply of cattle that will freeze on their farms and be stored in such natural refrigerators will be enough for all surviving humanity. In addition, the Scandinavian countries store strategic grain reserves that can help restore agriculture. But if new conflicts begin after the Third World War, this will finish off the remnants of the surviving people. Biological weapons. Another way of self-destruction of humanity could be biological weapons. Once the spread of dangerous viruses or bacteria is started, it will be impossible to control it. Such a war cannot simply be stopped, and it will claim more and more lives. Biological weapons are considered one of the cheapest. The cost of death in it is a few cents, so a biobomb is thousands of times cheaper than a nuclear one. Who knows what future viruses are already being developed in laboratories around the world? These could be ideal biological killers. For example, combinations of already known deadly pathogens. AIDS, plague, smallpox or tuberculosis. If anything kills more than 10 million people in the next decade, it will most likely be a highly contagious virus rather than a war. According to Gates, such a pandemic could easily be created by private individuals in a laboratory. For example, a highly lethal form of smallpox. In just a few hours it will spread throughout the world. Whether the war is nuclear or biological, one thing is clear. If people survive it, it will be more of a happy accident. Supervolcanoes. The Toba supervolcano has clearly shown that a massive eruption can change the climate of the entire planet for many years. Now we know of 20 deadly points on the map. The peculiarity of a supervolcano eruption is that it throws out clouds of hot gases and volcanic ash. When they enter the stratosphere, they obscure the light of the sun. And the planet plunges into a long-term winter. And after the dust settles, the volcanic winter gives way to a volcanic summer. Due to the increase in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the greenhouse effect will begin. In addition, super eruptions are capable of causing hurricanes of volcanic gases, rocks, and ash. Not a single living creature can survive in such a flow. The last such eruption occurred 27,000 years ago in New Zealand. The Taupo volcano emitted almost 1,200 cubic kilometers of ash, enough to cover a large city with a layer of several kilometers. Among the dormant supervolcanoes, the most dangerous is Yellowstone. It is the largest volcanic system in North America, formed after a catastrophic eruption 630,000 years ago. Then more than 1,000 cubic kilometers of dust and lava entered the atmosphere. The Yellowstone volcano erupted only 3 times, but each time caused terrible disasters. Mountain ranges were destroyed, the earth rose, and then the peak collapsed, forming a gigantic depression, the caldera, the size of Brazil. Now there is a huge national park with geysers and mud pots, under which there is still a bubble of magma. If a new eruption occurs, the supervolcano could wipe out half of the United States and destroy all life on the planet. One good thing is that such eruptions occur only once every 100,000 years. Asteroids. According to experts, supervolcano eruptions can be compared in strength to an asteroid impact. Although the likelihood of a fatal encounter with a cosmic body is low, but its consequences can be truly catastrophic. A collision with an asteroid more than 30 kilometers away could lead to the destruction of an entire civilization. For comparison, the impact energy from the fall of a 10-kilometer asteroid, which most likely killed the dinosaurs 66 million years ago, was equivalent to the impact of 2 million kings. In general, space objects with a diameter of more than a kilometer are dangerous for the Earth. Although a collision with such celestial bodies occurs approximately once every million years, it can provoke fires over vast areas. And then global cooling. According to astronomers, there are a huge number of bodies in space that can lead to disaster on Earth. NASA is currently monitoring thousands of potentially dangerous objects in space. Moreover, every week astronomers find dozens of new ones. Even if we manage not to die from wars, epidemics, or asteroids, sooner or later humanity will be destined to die out. Within a billion years, the luminosity of the sun will increase so much that life will be possible only at the poles, and then only for microorganisms. Even if we figure out how to live at such high temperatures, In 5 billion years the Sun will turn into a red giant and engulf our planet. Will it be possible to escape on other planets? It's also not a fact that in the distant future, according to scientists' calculations, the heat death of the universe may occur. A state in which the thermonuclear reactions of stars will stop, and only cold islands of planets will remain in space. The second option is a big gap. According to this theory, the universe will end its existence during the destruction of all matter by the forces of mysterious dark energy, which occupies 3/4 of the composition of our universe. The third and final option is the collapse of the universe due to a big compression, when the expansion of the universe will stop and be replaced by compression, which will end in a singularity, the point from which the Big Bang once began. And no one knows what will happen after that. Write in the comments how you think humanity will end its journey.